You're watching First Alert 7 News at 9 on the CW and live on YouTube with Lauren Munt and weather with Tom Tiefertiller.
There are lots of things going on around West Texas this weekend, from farmers markets to Special Olympics. We'll give you your weekend plans, plus a look at your First Alert forecast. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us for First Alert 7 News on the CW, and thanks to those of you joining us live on our YouTube. I'm Lauren Munt, and we start tonight tracking crime across Texas. You might have been woken up early this morning after a blue alert was sent out to cell phones all across the state. Law enforcement are looking for this man who shot a police chief in the Texas Panhandle. That was while he was being served an arrest warrant. The Memphis, Texas police chief is in stable condition, but the suspect, Seth Altman, is still at large. Let's take a closer look at the suspect. He's 33-year-old Seth Altman, and he's now on the Texas top 10 most wanted fugitive list. Altman has been charged previously with assault charges, burglary, and evading arrest. And he's currently wanted for attempted capital murder of a peace officer. Now looking into that charge, this happened in the city of Memphis, Texas. That's in Hall County, which is about an hour southeast of Amarillo. Officials say police were delivering a warrant to Altman for a burglary charge. They say he then fled out of the back of the house and was confronted by the police chief, who was shot by Altman. According to officials, Chief Rex Plant was taken to Lubbock for medical treatment, and again, he's in stable condition. Our sister station KFDA in Amarillo has been following this manhunt all day. Madison Fisher reports.
Multiple agencies, including the Texas Rangers and the FBI, have spent all day searching for Altman. We have been in Memphis all day as the officers search multiple areas for the wanted man. Throughout the day, police searched multiple locations where he had family ties. Police say Altman shot Memphis Police Chief Rex Plant when officers were attempting to arrest him for burglary charges. Chief Plant was taken to a Lubbock hospital. At last check, he remained in stable condition. At this time, Altman is still on the run and is considered armed and dangerous. If you see him, call 911. We will continue following updates on this manhunt and keep you updated as we learn more. Reporting in studio, Madison Fisher.
This afternoon, Governor Greg Abbott announced a $10,000 reward for any information that leads to Altman's arrest. In addition to that, the FBI is offering a $5,000 reward for information. You can submit a tip through the Texas Crime Stoppers hotline, but again, if you see Altman, just call 911 and do not approach him. Officials believe that he is armed and dangerous. Back here in West Texas, the Supreme Court ruled that two cases related to nuclear waste storage should be combined. Those cases, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission versus the state of Texas and Interim Storage Partners LLC versus the state of Texas. Both of them have to do with storing nuclear waste right here in the Permian Basin. The secretary of the Permian Basin Coalition and attorney for Fasken Oil and Ranch, Monica Perales, said in a statement that Nuclear Regulatory Commission has denied parties from being able to intervene in the licensing process, which is unconstitutional, and that she expects that the state will win the lawsuit. Earlier today, the Midland Victims Coalition held their Domestic Violence Awareness Walk. Now, the Midland Victims Coalition is a group of nonprofits and law enforcement agencies that serve victims who've dealt with domestic violence. One of its main goals is to make sure victims of crimes are aware of the resources that they have at their disposal and to create community support.
As victims, we need to get involved and to help in those areas as well. And as painful as it might be, you know that you're helping them to heal as well. We're all not perfect in no way. And you don't just start loving somebody. But it's getting better.
If you or someone you know and love is a victim of domestic violence, you can call 432-688-411 for help. We're going to take a pause now and talk your weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller. Tom?
Well, wrapping up a nice day across West Texas, as we have seen a few clouds across the area, but those are starting to dissipate. As temperatures today were on the warm side, but not too bad, staying out of the 90s in many locations. We're up to 91 earlier in Monahans, 90 down towards the Presidio area. And as we take a look at your hourly temperatures, again, cooling off this evening is going to make way for a great evening and overnight out there, as temperatures will be down into lower 60s. And don't forget to look off to the north to see if you can spot any auroras Kind of a red haze on the horizon will be a possibility here, not only tonight, but all the way through the weekend, and we'll have clear skies to go along with it. And it does look like the streak of nice weather is going to continue, and we'll talk more about that coming up here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Tom. We're talking some education news now because as the Permian Basin continues to grow, so does the number of students that are entering higher education programs. For the 12th year in a row, Odessa College has hit record-breaking enrollment rates for their fall semester, but they think they might actually grow even more before the semester ends. The school is only about 100 students away from having 10,000 students that are enrolled in their fall semester. Now, this would be the largest fall semester of any higher education entity in the history of the entire Permian Basin.
We're a part of something really, really special here. These are unique numbers. You don't see this kind of growth in other places.
To celebrate the milestone, Sewell Family Companies has partnered with Odessa College, and they're going to give $10,000 cash to an Odessa College student. That'll be on October 24th, when OC will draw the names of 10 currently enrolled students. Then on October 29th, one of those 10 will receive the $10,000 cash prize. Happening this weekend, the Special Olympics Fall Classic is going on in Midland and Odessa. Tonight, the opening ceremonies kicked off what is sure to be an exciting evening. For the past 13 years, the event has been hosted in College Station, but now it's time to show off some good old-fashioned West Texas hospitality as Midland and Odessa come together to take over the special event.
It's a big thing for Special Olympics Texas, though. One of the things we knew we'd get a little pushback moving something so far away, but we knew once they got a taste of the Midland, Odessa, and West Texas spirit, and our athletes have been given a stage out here and treated like the superstars they are. It's just been absolutely amazing how welcoming they're. The athletes, the smiles on their face, and they're like, everybody wants us here, and I said they sure do. So thank you so much to Midland and Odessa and this community.
Events are taking place all across Midland and Odessa, and venue locations include the Basin Sports Complex, COM Aquatics, the Bush Convention Center, Hogan Park Golf Course, and the Ector County Coliseum. Also going on this weekend is the second annual Basin PBS Heritage Festival. That's happening Saturday at Centennial Park. Now, this event is all about highlighting the rich cultural diversity of West Texas, with over 25 different cultural booths, a concert, and lots of activities for kids.
We are so focused on educating our public from the littlest to the oldest in the Permian Basin, and this is just a great opportunity to come out, learn new culture, come out and hear different types of performances. You get to see the Chinese school, for example, will perform. You'll see stuff from the Hispanic Cultural Center will perform. There's just many different things that guests get to see.
The Heritage Festival starts at 2 p.m. tomorrow, and again, that's free and open to the public. Also going on this weekend, the West Texas Food Bank will be hosting the Kids Farmers Market tomorrow morning at the Midland College campus, or the Midland campus, I should say. People will be able to shop the fresh produce all they want, and that's all for free. There will be vendors to teach kids where fruits and vegetables come from and how to prepare food. And come hungry, there will be tasting samples to try different fruits and vegetables that kids may not be exposed to.
We'll learn a lot of things about where things are grown, what temperature, what climate, what time of year, what season you can get certain things. But also I think it's important for us to expose our kiddos perhaps to normal fruits and vegetables that they may have never experienced before. And that's why you'll see some kind of, HEB always provides some exotic or different kind of fruit and vegetables.
The West Texas Food Bank hosts the Kids Farmers Market twice a year in order to help families facing food insecurity. That event starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. Now it's time for the moment you've been waiting all week for. Friday Night Football is happening right now. The First Alert 7 team is scattered all across the Permian Basin at some of these games. Let's take a look at some of the scores from week 6. Looking now, Midland High, they're playing a team all the way from Florida. I think that's right. Actually, they're winning right now, 35-10. That's at halftime. Big Spring. They're going right now against Fort Stockton. That scores 30-14. Fort Stockton leading. Andrews against Lubbock Estacado. Lubbock Estacado is beating our local team 28-22. Odessa Compass, they're going on right now 59-2 against Anthony. And don't forget, all of these scores and more, they can be found up on our website. That's firstalert7.com. And take a look at this. Midland's very own Olympian, Bryce Hoppel. He attended his alma mater's football game tonight, and he was named the honorary captain of the Midland High Bulldogs. He even got to lead the coin toss. Take a look at that. Tune in tonight to the Blitz on First Alert 7 for highlights from all of these games and more. Plus, stick around on YouTube for the Blitz extended version, where our sports team takes an in-depth look at all of those games. Coming up, a Republican in the deep red state of Texas is facing a tough fight as a Democrat gains ground on him in the U.S. Senate race. We've got the latest on the closely watched race. That's coming up next. And Basin PBS and First Alert 7 are working to bring you the latest in your election news. Candidates will be participating in debates. And First Alert 7's very own Mary Kate Hamilton, she'll be moderating. You can watch those debates live on KWWT My 30 throughout the month of October. First one is 1 week from today. That'll be, or 1 week from yesterday, Thursday, October 10th, where candidates from 3 districts on the Midland School Board will be debating. You won't want to miss it. An extremely close U.S. Senate race happening right here in Texas could have big implications for the rest of the country. Polls show that the race is virtually tied, and its outcome could determine which party rules the chamber, and where Democrats hold a major razor-thin majority. Our Washington News Bureau correspondent Stetson Miller spoke to the candidates as the race gets down to the wire.
In the deeply red Lone Star State, Republican incumbent Senator Ted Cruz is facing a tough fight from Democratic Congressman Colin Allred. A number of polls show Allred gaining on Cruz recently, with the incumbent only leading by a few points, and one poll even reporting that Allred has the lead. The race has also recently seen millions of dollars in new ads from the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, and one election forecaster has even changed the race from likely Republican to lean Republican. And while the poll numbers are energizing Democrats, Senator Ted Cruz says they're just a sign of the times.
Listen, we're a divided country right now, but I got to say, I think every election should be a contrast in the records between the two candidates. And my record and Colin Allred's record are dramatically different.
Congressman Allred doesn't see those close polls the same way, saying he thinks Texans are ready to go in a different direction and is highlighting what he says is his record of working across the aisle over his last 6 years in the House.
And I've served in Congress in a way that shows it's possible to bring folks together. I'm the most bipartisan Texan in Congress, which is a pretty big contrast from Ted Cruz.
Cruz is running on his record as well, saying he's been fighting for jobs, freedom, and security in the Senate, highlighting recent legislative achievements on making it simpler to build chip manufacturing plants in the country and expanding bridges for trade on the U.S.-Mexico border.
There are a lot of reasons people come to Texas, but the number one reason is Texas is where the jobs are. And we got to fight to protect that. You know, the theme of my campaign is Keep Texas, Texas.
For the congressman, his priorities include immigration reforms, securing the border, fighting for reproductive rights, and improving the economy.
I've been so focused on lowering Texans' costs everywhere I can, from prescription drugs to your healthcare costs, trying to attack our housing issues and the costs of living that we're having to address, particularly across Texas.
If all red prevails, it would be a major win for Democrats who haven't won a statewide race in Texas since 1994. In Washington, I'm Stetson Miller.
Well, clear skies are going to make for some great astronomical viewing. We'll talk about what we'll be looking for coming up next.
Now, from the First Alert 7 Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, we are going to be looking for some nice weather for your weekend. Now, we want to remind everybody that we did have a strong solar flare that occurred October 3rd, and that was facing towards the Earth, so it may send that flare closer to the Earth here over the weekend, and we could see some auroras out of this. Strongest solar flare since 2017. It's going to cause some possible auroras in West Texas. We'll just see how far south they get. Definitely a lock for the Texas Panhandle, but we could see them as far south as West Texas. Again, solar flare we had back in May caused auroras all the way down towards the Big Bend area, and so you want to keep an eye on the northern sky. Try to get away from some city lights and the best viewing later tonight through Sunday night. As we take a look at the weather makers, again, not a lot blocking us from seeing anything like that, as we're seeing lots of clear skies due to high pressure in control of the weather. We have a little bit of a dip in the jet stream that's going to bring another front into the area coming up here over the weekend and late in the weekend, early part of next week. And that's just going to continue the nice temperatures, especially the morning hours, where we'll see temperatures drop down into the 50s. And with this is a dry forecast. All this tropical moisture is headed east, so we're not going to see any of it make its way into West Texas. It did cause some showers earlier today into the afternoon across portions of the Texas coastal plains into South Texas, as temperatures today were on the hot side, especially along the Texas Gulf Coast, into the lower 90s out there, 95 in Austin. 87, and again is where we topped out at the Miller National Air and Spaceport, so it was kind of a warm day, but nothing like Phoenix. They're into the center of that high pressure is up to 107 degrees out there in Arizona. Now again, any clouds we have will dissipate overnight tonight, and we're going to be looking at relatively quiet conditions to start your Saturday. And it looks like that'll continue into the afternoon hours as we'll have lots of sunshine in the forecast. And continuing into Sunday, no weather issues expected. So man, make those outdoor plans. The weather looks fantastic. So for the rest of tonight, in clear skies, light winds will allow those temperatures to drop down to about 60 across the area. And then for tomorrow, looking at another day kind of like today, temperatures into the upper 80s to near 90s in a few spots like Monahans, Fort Stockton, 92 in Presidio. With sunny skies and a south wind, that'll be occasional gusty. And no big change except for that front dropping down on Sunday. It'll shave a couple of degrees off the temperatures coming up on Monday and keep us having some nice mornings, but up and down on the temperatures a little bit hot by the middle part of next week, and no appreciable change until maybe after the next weekend. We may see a stronger cold front arrive here in West Texas, bringing some maybe cooler changes.
Up next here at 9, dock workers are back in the job this morning after a massive strike is put on hold. How the two sides came to an agreement and why the deal is only temporary. Up next. Ports opened back up this morning after the dock workers' strike threatened the nation's supply chain and was averted, at least for now. Naomi Ruckham breaks down the details of the new deal that was reached Thursday evening and what it could mean for the economy.
Celebrations broke out in Brooklyn Thursday as dock workers learned they are back on the job. The new deal between the union and port operators suspends a 3-day strike that shut down shipping on the East and Gulf coasts.
We believe in everybody, all the foremen, all the big bosses. We never lost faith. We love each and every one of them because they never stopped fighting for us. and we'll never stop fighting for them.
The deal came after the ports sweetened their side of the bargain, raising their offer from a 50% raise to 62% over 6 years. But the deal does not resolve disagreements over the use of automated machinery, which has been a sticking point for port workers.
Robots don't pay taxes and they don't put food on your table, so it's very important to protect these jobs.
The agreement ends the biggest disruption of its kind in nearly half a century, threatening shortages of everything from food like bananas to car parts, home appliances, and even furniture. Some Americans even resorted to panic buying, reminiscent of the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, stocking up on toilet paper and paper towels. President Biden applauded both sides for coming to the table.
We've been working hard on it, and we just, with the grace of God, the good will of neighbor is going to hold.
Now the parties have until January 15th of next year to negotiate a new contract. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
1 week after Hurricane Helene, some damaged areas are still impossible to get to, and the confirmed number of dead is now more than 200. In hard-hit Asheville, North Carolina, the mayor says 54 people were still missing as of yesterday.
There are people that died in the storm that lived in homes in areas that had never before experienced flooding. So when you're thinking about, do I need to evacuate? There were a lot of people that thought, well, I'm probably fine where I am. And that did not turn out to be the case.
FEMA says that the National Guard has delivered more than 130,000 pounds of food and water to Asheville so far. And the cost of the rebuild in western North Carolina is expected to be in the billions. President Biden said earlier this week that the federal government will pay for the disaster cleanup as well as emergency operations in North Carolina over the course of the next 6 months. That's all the time we have here tonight at 9 in the CW. Thanks for joining us. We've got more news coming up tonight on First Alert 7 News at 10 and, of course, the Friday Night Blitz. Stick around.